Hello and welcome. This is Manu Mishra. You are watching Proper Feelings, and this is the second episode of All Things Sane, where I discuss about a book called Seize the Day, as you've already read in the thumbnail. But this is not just a summary of a book because I don't do book summaries. It is one of those books that I want to share with you what I read in it, what I felt about it, and how it made me feel about the general emotions of my day-to-day life, and possibly push you towards reading something that's incredible and is worth your time. I am not an avid reader by any stretch of the imagination. I've possibly got an attention span of a jellyfish, but when I do tend to read, I end up reading pieces of work that make me think about the things going around in my life. They make me think about the decision I can possibly take, and they also make me think about, do I want to be the protagonist of this particular book? Because we humans are fascinated by fiction. We've been doing so for ages, and this day and age is no different. So, what is Seize the Day? It is the fourth novel of Saul Bellow, one of the most accomplished writers of his time, and his Nobel Prize does justify that. I need not to go further, and you can read about him whenever you feel so. So, this book is about Tommy Wilhelm, and before I move forward, I would like to establish the fact that the words father and protagonist I'm going to use very, very loosely, because first, the protagonist, the main man of this particular book, is not a man you should be looking up to, the children should be looking up to, your lover should be looking up to, or anybody in your life should be looking up to. And father is not the man who is having a heart that's capable of forgiving. So once we get that out of the way, we understand what Tommy Wilhelm is doing. As the book starts, the man Tommy Wilhelm lives in a hotel with his father, who's been an accomplished doctor in his time. But as we read in this book now, we're understanding Tommy Wilhelm now. He's a man who's not in the best of shape financially, physically, emotionally, possibly socially, because he's a man who's lost everything he ever had. A beautiful wife, trust of his father, a lot of money, and his youth and charisma. Now, how did it get there? As I said earlier, that he is a son of a wealthy doctor who used to be a very famous practitioner of his time. That means there was no shortage of money. And when I say shortage of money, it's not about the extravaganza that people put up. It's just about the lifestyle he wanted to live. He always got that. He got always what he wanted. And he entered one of the best colleges. But a man sometimes crosses the line between confidence and delusion and ends up biting the dust more often than not. Tommy Wilhelm does the same. In his college, he is approached by an agent, a scout for Hollywood, who promises him to make his name big in the Hollywood industry. And I don't know how much you know about in the entertainment industry, but yeah, opportunity does not knock your door. You have to go build a door and break it down yourself as far as the outsiders are concerned. So he gets into that delusion that he can make big into Hollywood. He could be the Leonardo DiCaprio of his times. Of course, it's not set in the times of 90s or 2000s. So Leonardo DiCaprio is not possibly the most apt example, but just to give you relevance and the context of what he thought he could be. This example fits well for me. So he thinks he could be the big name, the big shot in Hollywood. So he moves to Los Angeles, California, leaving his college behind. Again, the wish of his father was not really granted. Against the wish of his father, he went there, tried a few gigs, didn't work out, possibly lost all of his money. And this is the point where he should have come back, put his head down, work a lot, and make up for the lost time and possibly the money as well. But he didn't do that. Until and unless all goes south and he loses everything he's ever had, contacts, money, relationship, people, he decides to come back after all this is dusted, and his father sees no hope in a man whose failures are as spectacular as Mark Twain claims his failures were. Now, this is a very famous quote. You can look up for this one if you want the context of failures. What happens next is, because of this, he loses his wife, a lady who he loved, he married. The wife really left a man so incapable of accountability that he blames everything on fortune and misfortune and the gods and the most divine powers but himself. He blames everybody but himself. And I don't think any self-respecting woman would want to live with a man who's may or may not have some talent or ability to make big in the world, but lacks accountability and respect for the lady and for himself as well. The wife has deserted him, he's left alone, and in comes Dr. Tamkin, a psychologist, but this thing is as shady as the blackest color in the world. Dr. Tamkin claims to be a psychologist, a healer, a helper, and whatnot. He puts Tommy Wilhelm into a situation where he gets more delusional, and he pushes him to invest all of his money in stock market. And I've got nothing to do with money. This face has got nothing to do with finance or economics or understanding of economics. But even a jackass could tell you that you do not put all your eggs in one basket. Tommy Wilhelm does that, he loses his money. First he was broke with his own money, now he's broke with his father's money. Again, cementing the father's hatred and disgust for his son's lack of achievements or lack of doing anything in life. Now, this when hits him, Tommy Wilhelm wakes from the sleep and goes out to find Dr. Tamkin. Where is the man gone? But he was a fraud. What he does? He disappears in thin air just like that. There's no sign of him. He's running like a madman, like a rabid dog, trying to find the man who put him into this situation, but he's nowhere to be found. Why would he? He was a fraud. But one incident coming down, and this is all happened in the whole of the book, and we are at the end of this book. Remember, it's a short novel, but at the end of the book, you see, he sees a casket. A funeral is going on at the castle. There's a man lying in the casket. Does Tommy Wilhelm knows him? No, he doesn't. He reaches the castle, sees the man, and breaks down. The people who were attending the funeral thought of him as a madman. Like, who the hell is this guy? Does he know the deceased? Does he know us? Does he know where he is? No, he doesn't. Then why is he crying? This is where the novel ends. Now, you would be left surprised as to why this loose hanging of an ending by Saul Bellow. Well, what I interpret this as is a man so much inconsolable with rage, fear, anxiety, and the shame, the sense of shame upon himself, that even the smallest induction of feelings of despair and demise and doom can break him, and he breaks apart like a house of cards. He starts crying, the book comes to an end. What happened to the father, we don't know. What happened to Dr. Tamkin, we don't know. What happened to the wife that constantly bugged him, we don't know. But we know one thing. Tommy Wilhelm is not a changed man, by absolutely no means. But he's a man who's been so strangled and so devastated that no man in the whole wide world should look up to him. No woman in the whole wide world should look up to him. No father would look up to him and, say that his chest is swelling with pride. But one thing could be learned from him: how not to be him. How not to be a man so blinded by delusion that you take everything away you have and tear it apart and move into a direction, into a road that has no end. You're not climbing the stairway to heaven. You're possibly diving deep into the sea of despair for it to never come back. Well, this was the summary of the book and what I felt about it. So if you ever find some time on your hands, do give this one a read. It's a spectacular read. It's a slow burn. It takes its time to settle in, but you will not regret it. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you end up liking the book even more, because these videos are fallible. Literature is not. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did, make sure you do the necessary things, and I'll see you next time around with something more interesting and whatever I've got on my mind. Till then, take care of yourself, have a good hot chocolate because it's a chilly weather out there, and I'll see you soon.